Something really exciting has happened at the 2024 Olympics in Paris. Science took the gold. So if you haven't been following the Olympics, what we're talking about is the men's 100 meter. The difference between first place and second place was 0.005 seconds, 5/1000ths of a second. To give you some perspective, the blink of an eye is 0.1 seconds. That's 20 times longer. So how did science win the race? Well, long gone are the days of photo finishes and bang sticks to start the race. I think we all know the difference between the speed of lightning and the speed of thunder, or the speed of light and the speed of sound. You can figure out how far away a storm is by timing the difference between when you see the flash and when you hear the thunder. It's difficult to imagine that light and sound actually have a speed. They seem instantaneous. In 1687, Sir Isaac Newton figured that the speed of sound was 979 feet per second. But he was off by about 15%. It's actually closer to 1,125 feet per second. But there are a lot of variables that can change this speed. So for our purposes and to make the math easier, let's use 1,000 feet per second. So let's imagine you and your friend want to have a race. And for some crazy reason, the start line is 1,000 feet long. The starter says, "On your mark, get set." Well, the sound reaches you almost instantaneously. But your friend, 1,000 feet away, hears it a full second later. So if another friend wants to join in the race and he starts in the middle of the starting line, he's going to hear the starter a half second after you and a half second before your other friend. So this actually gives runners closer to the starter an advantage. And that advantage was figured out long ago. Any runner who's closer to the starter is going to hear the sound sooner and be able to react sooner. And we're talking thousandths of a second nowadays, so any advantage is a huge advantage. This advantage was first addressed at the 2012 Olympics in London. Nowadays they have an electronic starter. When the trigger is pulled, it activates a speaker attached to the starting blocks behind each runner. And yes, each cable is the same length, so they all make the sound at exactly the same time. I don't want to go too deep into the maths here, but at the recent 100 meters, Noah Lyles won by 0.005 seconds. Had there been a traditional starter used, he would have lost by 0.003 seconds. A lot of people seem to have a really hard time wrapping their head around this one and seem to think it's some kind of American bashing. But it's really not. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's just science. If there had been a Noah Lyles in every lane and they had used a traditional starter, the Noah Lyles in lane 1 would have come in first, and the Noah Lyles in lane 2 would have come in second, and the Noah Lyles in lane 3 would have won bronze. It's just science, and science won the gold at the 2024 Olympics in Paris.